probably now that we've spent so much time talking about the film, like I don't think I appreciated what I was kind of stepping into because it just became something that I had to focus on entirely. But I felt incredibly held and looked after by Ridley throughout, and to have him in charge of Gladiator 1 and also Gladiator 2 put me at ease, for sure.
Yeah, that's great. And, it feels like this could mark a new kind of chapter in your career. Would you like to do more action roles, more, big films like this?
If it's the right thing, I definitely think when the dust settles on whatever career I have, these kind of films, I think will probably be in the minority. But if it's a director like Ridley and it's not just an action film, and the story's good, and for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I think the physical elements of this are also kind of countered by some real heart in the character, which is the same in Gladiator 1 as well. What did you enjoy about that duality of having both of those things to play with?
Yeah, it's a performance style that I haven't played before, so I was like trying to find moments in the film that I could apply things that I've learned from even films like Aftersun or All of Us Strangers, and trying to find ways to do what I know I can do with that, but albeit in a very, very, very different environment. And the physical side of it was something that I was always incredibly excited to do. Like I always wanted to be in an action film because I loved those films growing up, but I think it's hard to find an action film that you can also act in. They're normally one or the other.
Yeah, completely. And speaking of the kind of the set design, and I think the scale of this just felt, obviously Ridley's films always feel massive, but even like comparing it directly with the first Gladiator, the way that things have evolved since 2000, this just felt so huge, and the sets and the supporting actors and the costumes were just incredible. So how was that for you, being in that world?
I think it felt more stark when I saw it, but at the time when you're filming it, you become very accustomed to it very quickly, because the way Ridley works, you don't really have time to sit back and see it all. You're just going from day to day and trying to stay as present as possible. Now, don't get me wrong, there are moments when you kind of are struck by the scale of it all, but for the most part, that really struck me when I saw it for the first time. Yeah.
Completely. And did you have many conversations with like Connie and other actors that were in the original about the kind of progression of the story, or did you kind of treat this as a standalone thing?
The latter, I'd say. I think only because the character isn't aware of really what's preceded him in terms of the overall arc of the picture. But I think, I don't know, I just tried to, as much as possible, drown out any of the outside noise and approach it the same way I would any other film.
And did you spend much time with the first film while preparing for this, or was it again?
No, it was the minute I knew I was cast, I decided not to go back to it. I just, when you just get a gut instinct, I was like, I've got to just try and treat this like, I imagine the great privilege that they had when they were making Gladiator 1 is that nobody knew that it was going to be the success that it was, whereas this film comes with its own latent pressure that it is associated. So I was trying to find a way to make Gladiator 2 feel as close to what it was for what I imagine it was for them making Gladiator 1.
And what did the training look like for you for this role? Because it's so physical.
It was just consistency. It was just gym 6 days a week, eating lots of protein. Nothing crazy, just lots of volume. Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine. Is there anything about Lucius that you'll carry with you from the character kind of, as you go on?
Yeah, I think I'm proud of how kind of resilient he is. Like, there's very few characters that I've played that have gone through the kind of torture that he's gone through, and he still manages to find a way to like retain his dignity and pride. And I think the thing that is most interesting to me about him is the fact that he's able to change his mind. He suffers so much at the hands of the Roman Empire and still manages to have the kind of grace and the self-education to go like, what is most important right now is that I shift my perspective on something, because I think the world's obviously incredibly binary right now. So to have a character at the center of the story who has the ability to change is important.